how much efforting do I put in and what can I reasonably expect to have shift? Do I keep at this? Is there a point where I'm just putting energy behind something that won't ever go away? Like, I don't know. So the easy answer is none of us know. None of us know. It's a mystery. Maybe a slightly more satisfying answer is think of it as, trying to figure out whether this is a question of, do we need to develop compensatory strategies for something that is broken or wounded and is never coming back? So for example, did the trauma have the effect of, let's use a physical example because it's easier for people to understand. Did I literally lose my leg? And that leg is not going to grow back. I am not a starfish. So is it like I lost a leg and it's not growing back? And so I need compensatory strategies. I need a prosthesis. I need a way of moving around in the world that acknowledges that I've lost a capacity that isn't going to come back. I'm not going to have that leg to walk on. It's just gone. Or is this the case of rehab, where the leg got so severely mangled that we can do a lot of surgeries and we can keep trying to reconstruct it, and we can do a lot of physical therapy, and we can try to get the muscle tone back, and we can try to get as much functioning back as we want. And even with all of that, maybe I'll be able to walk on that leg, but I'll never run a marathon on that leg, right? Or was it just wounded enough that for a few years in my childhood, I'm going to need a lot of rehab, and hey, you know what, in 10 years time, that system is going to heal itself and you're going to be fine and you're going to be able to run a marathon. That's the question you're asking. And when it comes to psychic structures and it comes to like psychological conditioning and trauma that we've experienced, emotional, mental, neurological, all of these things have had impacts on multiple systems in our body. It's a big question mark. And so this is what I would recommend asking instead. I don't know whether you'll ever heal it, whether it'll ever go away. And I would suggest, I want to just float out the idea that it doesn't matter. That it doesn't matter. You can love everything you find in yourself anyway. Whether or not you have that leg to run a marathon or not, you can grieve the fact that there's a capacity you might not have. And you are nevertheless a whole human anyway. The health and the meaning and the mattering of your life is not dependent upon having that leg or healing that trauma. Is it going to be something you live with? Is it going to be something that triggers you? Are you going to sometimes be what we might think of as overreactive, although we could unpack that whole word? Will you have a sensitized nervous system around certain things? Absolutely. Why does that have to be bad? So I'm going to have you ask a slightly different question, which is, can I make peace with myself as I am today, even if I never heal another damn thing about myself? Can I be lovable and good enough and whole and contribute in meaningful ways to the world as I am today? And I would say yes. I would say yes. And I think that can sometimes be a shift in how we're understanding the personal growth journey that we're on. For me, the personal growth and healing journey is about helping my system, my inner being, fulfill her potential, given all of the stuff that she has accumulated in this lifetime that makes certain things difficult. It's really about achieving my fullest potential, whatever that is. And the only person I'm comparing myself to is me and my fullest potential. And it doesn't matter what has happened to me, I can achieve that. And where I get trapped in domination system thinking is when any part of me thinks or buys into the illusion that there is a standard, a performance standard of a healthy way of being that we're all supposed to achieve. And then once we get A's, in the personal growth and health and healing. And once we're finally healed, and once we're finally enlightened, and once we can finally meditate, and once we can regulate all our emotions, and once we don't have any more triggers, and what, like, this is craziness, you guys. We're never going to get there. And the more we're trapped in this idea that we somehow have to achieve something before we get there, before what? Before we can be lovable whole humans. So there is some domination system programming in there that is expecting us to somehow achieve something. And to the degree that that is inspiring, like what Anne was talking about in the movie, like you see a possibility, you see a potential you'd like to reach, and your inner being is inspired to reach for it, then you're getting the light side of it, then do that for sure. If you see somebody running a marathon and you're like, oh, I want to figure out how I can do that, and it's like life affirming, go for it. The moment that that becomes, I can't until let's slow down and unpack it. Until that becomes, I'm not good enough until I blah, 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 blah. Let's slow down and unpack that. That's really where the work is at that point.